next up is the halo eye that I'm going to show you on the gorgeous Maha. We're going to do strong eyes, a lighter lip. And to start off, I'm going to use these Nip and Fab Vitamin C brightening pads. These are nice for a quick exfoliation. They also kind of brighten the skin. She has no makeup on her face. So I'm just going to wipe this on her face to begin with. This is good for a quick exfoliation because a lot of the makeup that I'm teaching you guys is all about when a client comes in or a person walks in. A lot of times you don't have extensive time, right? So ideally we would want all our clients to do the best skincare before coming, and hence you would have to do lesser skincare, but it doesn't work that way. I'm just taking a new one, a fresh one now, wiping it across her face. I'm going to go ahead and take some 𝐻𝐬𝐬𝐿 oxygen water. All right, I'm just a fan of hydration sprays. This is just nice to bring some hydration onto the skin. Maha's a busy model, so what happens with modeling is that you tend to travel late nights, a lot of shooting, harsh lights, weather conditions you have to brave, so skin tends to be a little dehydrated. I can feel it, and I can feel that slight dehydration happening. So you're going to apply some of that, and then on top I'm going to take some Farsali Rose Gold Elixir and add that as well on her face as a nice kind of a moisturizer here. Right, so just let that sit on your skin while we work on those eyes, and then we're going to come to the skin itself. So I'm going to take a wipe now. Just wipe any excess product that's gone onto the eyebrow, just her eye as well. And I'm going to start with my concealing the eye. I'm going to take some Tarte Shape in medium, and I'm going to add a pump of my Honey NARS concealer in Honey, and then we're going to add a pump of NW40 Pro Long Wear Concealer, and I'm going to mix these colors together and close Maha, apply to the eyelid. Making sure you're also applying it to the inner corner. I've mentioned before as well, it's very hard to go in later and try to put foundation here. Maha, just look here a bit, close. Making sure it's covering the entire lid and slightly going outwards as well, because when we blend the eyeshadow outwards, we'll need this area covered. And the halo eye is all about creating that highlighted center and the darker corners, right? I'm not going to set this with powder. I like to go straight into it with my dip down. So I'm going to go ahead and start creating my structure. So it's all going to be about having a darker inner corner and outer corner, but the center we're going to keep lighter. So I'm going to start with this brush and start creating this darker corner, the inside of the eye, and then do the same thing towards the corner of the eye, blending inwards. So this is literally the foundation of what we're going to do with the eye, right? I'm going to copy that on this particular eye as well. I'm going to go in with my MAC now blending brush, and I'm going to start blending this. So I'm going to keep to that area. A lot of times when people blend, they start blending all over. You want to blend in that particular area that you've applied the dark. So I'm just taking the same product that we applied. I haven't applied any extra. I'm just making sure that I'm blending that. And now in the center where we're also going to apply the highlighted color, I'm just going to take the brush and lightly also dust this product there, because we do want it to have a base to stick all that other product on. So very lightly just brush that across. And we're going to keep making it darker as we go ahead. Just blending the corners with just my finger. Making sure that we're starting to give it that shape, right? So you can already see what we're trying to achieve here. Now I'm going to take my NARS Cordura palette. It's a duo. This is a darker color. This is a lighter brown color. I'm going to take the lighter brown and I'm going to create this kind of transition color in her socket. It's all about blending it all over, back and forth. Here as well, back and forth. Again, down. I'm adding some more of the same color. And now just adding it to the outer corner outside like that, and then just blending it a little bit with my finger so it doesn't look like it's like stopping somewhere. Great eye makeup just looks like it's going from one thing into another, as opposed to in any place just stopping or looking very stark. Now I'm going to take this particular color with my number 11 brush by Atelier again, close. So I'm just going to start creating darkness on top of the darker areas here. And I'm using this color, as I said. I'm going to do the same thing here, just building that slowly. And I'm just dabbing and kind of trying to blend with the same motion. But this is more to apply, and then I'm going to blend with my blending brush again. Yeah. And I'm doing soft circular motions. Another thing with brushes, guys, when you hold them from the beginning of the brush, you actually add more pressure and more product. If you hold them like this, you add lesser, because the further away you are from holding the brush, the lesser the pressure. So you'll also notice sometimes with the same brush, I'm going back and forth. So look down again. When I'm going towards blending something as delicate as this, I'm going to hold it from the back. I'm trying not to hold it like this. So sometimes holding it like this can actually deter you from blending well. Try to hold the brush from the end like that, very delicately. So like a circular motion or back and forth. Both sides of the eye, we'll do the same. Now I'm going to take my warm brown Obsessions palette and I'm going to take this particular color from it, mix it with this lower color, and now I'm going to go in her socket again. And now I'm going to come back and use some nylon eyeshadow on a flat brush here and add that to the brow bone a tad bit, and then blend it out with the same brush that I've been using to blend out my shadows. So it's not stark, it's a little blends out to be softer. And the same goes on this side. When you apply it, and if you apply it very strong, it can look quite strong, but blended, it looks strong but striking. So nylon is another color that I always tell people to keep in the arsenal to put in the center of their eye to put as a highlighter. It's a very versatile color. So you kind of added that sheen to the top part of her eye as well. Now I'm going to start building the center of the eye. Like, highlight of this eye makeup is the fact that it has that strong center. And for that, I'm going to use my Makeup Forever metal powders. You can get them in different colors, and I really like them because they have a lot of like wow power and they're really strong. So I'm just going to take some of this on an eye makeup brush here, flat brush here. I'm just taking some of it and I'm going to now create a center for this particular eye. Can you see how strong that is? I haven't wet my brush, anything. This is just the pure pigment right now that I'm using. So these are really cool, I feel. Just creating that. I'm applying a little more, and again, see my motion. It's a lot of dabbing. It's not a lot of swiping. I'm trying to just dab that in. Can you turn here, Mahal? Look down. So in the center like that, making sure I'm going near her waterline and also adding that color so there's no gap here, right? Then I'm going to take the same blending brush that we've been using, and just where the gold meets the rest of the colors, I'm just going to blend it here. I'm not going with the brush all over, just on the sides. I'm just going up and down to blend the sides of that halo. I'm just going to wipe any residue on her face here and here. And now I'm going to go in with my eyeliner. So I'm going to use my black eyeliner in Bourgeois. Open and look down. Niche dekhna. I'm going to add a line to her eye. And the same here. So I'm following the natural line of her own eye and giving her this striking kind of a line, which we're going to blend out because we're doing a halo and I want it to be more smoky. But this gives that smokiness a lot of depth, the fact that we already have something this dark in the beginning. Just perfecting that. Now I'm going to take the Atelier brush in number 6 and I'm going to use my Huda Beauty Rose Remastered palette and I'm going to use Black Truffle from there. I'm going to now blend this all over the eyeliner. So close Maha. I'm just going to take that brush and blend it right where we've applied that liner. So we can almost smoke out that line. Open. You can tell the difference between both the eyes. Close again, Maha. Because the halo eye, the one that I'm showing you, I want this to be all about drama, and Maha has those features to really close. Play up the drama. Close again. I like to get them to close their eyes when I'm doing this particular bit because you're going back and forth a lot. If their eyes are open, then they keep fluttering them, which is a little distracting. So just going back and forth, making sure it's kind of equal. Open. So as you can tell, now the eyes start to look more kind of dramatic and the eyeliner is more dramatic as well. So I'm going to take my Black Track gel eyeliner. So black gel eyeliner, open. And I'm going to apply it in her inner waterline. I'm grabbing her waterline away from her eyeball so it doesn't irritate her. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other eye. And usually after this step, I tend to give the person a little bit of a break because the eyes tend to water a little bit. So you can blink, blink, blink. Open and look down, Namaha. I'm going to pull this up and also tight line on the upper waterline. So this becomes even more dramatic. I'm just going to go in that corner and drag it out just a little bit because I want her eye to look almost feline with this eye. Now I'm going to go back in with this kind of darker color here, and I'm going to create some smokiness under her eye also. So look up, Maha. I'm going to drag with my pencil brush here and go back and forth to create a smoke under her eye. Straight again, up. Just going back and forth again. I also love doing the eyes before because you can do a lot of this cleaning and really making some sharp kind of lines, clean, and you don't have to worry about the skin getting ruined with product, for, fallout, etc. So I do prefer doing the eyes first. Unless I'm doing something very natural, then it's okay because I know that'll be quick. So now I'm going to go back in with black truffle on my number 11 brush, and I'm going to start now adding more darkness to the inner and outer corner. Because with halo or whenever you want to make, whether it's a halo eye or otherwise also makeup more intense, it's just about increasing that contrast between dark and light, right? So I'm just doing the placement first. Right, so we just kind of placed it, kind of made it darker. Now I'm going to go in with my blending brush and blend this. So I'm just blending it right where it's at. I'm not dragging it out. I'm just going back and forth or circular motions just in that space. So a lot of these blending brushes do the job for you if you just do it gently. So the idea is always to do the placement and then only blend until you need to and in the place that you are meant to be doing the blending. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my Cocoa from the Huda Beauty Rose Remastered palette, which is a more brown, kind of a reddish brown color, and I'm going to go over that socket line here and kind of start darkening that as well. And I'm using the same brush I was using for the dark, so it already has a little bit of that dark on it to kind of darken that entire socket area. And I'm going to go again back and forth. And just blending out the corner a little bit here as well. Now we're going to go back in with our Cordura color here, which is slightly more a shimmery brown, dark brown. And I'm going to add that in the outer corner. So kind of dab it towards and kind of drag it towards the inner part of the eye, then also drag it towards the outer corner. So outer and inner. Right, I'm going to do some blending now where we've applied those colors. I'm going to go in back with the black truffle and add a little bit more of that matte black into the corner. As you guys can see, it's all about layering. So I keep layering to make it darker. It's not about one color the first time you apply it and that's it, boom, you have it. No, it doesn't work that way. So it's all about layering those colors. Go back in and just blend it again. And I'm going to do the same thing in the inner corner with the black truffle eyeshadow. I'm going to darken it. Right, now I'm going to go back in. The first thing I'm going to do is apply the eyelash. I'm going to cut it a bit, right? I'm going to cut one particular, they're like two, one small, one long. I've cut like one small and one long. I'm going to add the glue, and I'm using the Huda Beauty black glue here. Open, down. And the reason why we put the lash here is that to know how heavy you're going to go with the rest of the eye, it's very important for before you finish that and add less or more. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other eye. It's very important to see what the eye is going to look like once the lash is on. You can see the difference here. It changes the heaviness of the eye, the weight of the eye, so it does make that difference. Although, I mean, there's no hard and fast because it's a makeup masterclass. People do prefer seeing finished looks with lashes, etc. Otherwise, you can do this look without also. So we're just going to wait for that to kind of stick to the eye. And in the meantime, we're just going to go ahead and take some of the brown. Now I'm going to mix both these colors together and start blending that outer corner. So just going to go here and then blending it out with these two colors. Doing the same thing here while we wait for that glue to dry. Now I'm going to go back in with my black eyeliner because we want to make that seem very seamless and make the glue, the strip of the lash hide. So this is why, again, even eye makeup in layers, because we smoked out that liner, we've given it all of that base, etc. And now we're applying the black line on top. So if we try to do the smokiness of the liner at this stage, it would make more of a mess and it would be harder. Hence, doing it earlier is easier. Draw that out. Now I'm going to go back in with my Cocoa from the Huda Rosary Mastered palette again, and I'm going to further create some depth here. And this brush again has that black on it already. I've just added a touch of Cocoa on top. Right? It's now kind of coming together. I'm just going back and forth here, making sure we're giving that lovely kind of a darkness there. And now I'm going to go on top of it with my blending brush as well, back and forth, even here, back and forth. So now I'm going to take my metallic color, but I'm going to wet my brush a little bit. So I'm going to use the Farsali Rose Gold Skin Mist. on my hand itself. And I'm going to dab my brush in there. Always take, this is powder so it's fine, but if you were using your palette eyeshadows, scrape some off because you don't want to, if you do it on a palette eyeshadow, it tends to kind of dry up and become hard to use. So I would like to do this with powder. So I've wet my brush and now I'm just going to go in the center and paint on a stronger effect of the same color. So it becomes really strong, so you want to control it and have it happening only in the center. I'm just dabbing that. Brush is still wet. Okay, down again. So can you see how strong that reads now? When she's making sure it's even and balanced. So when I make her look at me, it's about how much of the gold is showing when she's looking. Right, now I'm going to go ahead with a dry brush and I'm taking the Inglot 10S brush, eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to use the same gold, but now this brush is not wet, and I'm just going to add a little bit of it in the inner corner of the eye. So I'm going to go back in now with my two Cordura colors and mix them on this brush, and I'm now adding those, blending back and forth here. Right, look down, Maha, and just in the inner corner as well. Now before we do finishing of the eyes, I need to see how the rest of her face is going to come together. So look up. We're going to go into skin now. Just wiping it clean, any debris. And then like I said, I love wiping with wipes because if you just hold it, it'll give you that lovely clean kind of a line here without you having to create it, or people use tape and God knows what else. You don't need to do all of that. Right? Up again. Now Maha has this great kind of a golden coloring which I love to work with and keep true to its color, because this is predominantly 90% I would say of the females that reside here are this golden tone, and we tend to see it the least somehow in be it fashion or bridal pages, including mine, because everybody's so obsessed with getting fairer. But I think this is a great, beautiful palette to work with. So now we had applied that rose gold elixir on her face, but I don't like to put makeup on top of it. I think makeup tends to slide off. So I kind of use it almost like a moisturizer. And now because I've been wiping the face, I wiped pretty much most of it off. So now I'm going to start with the Shu Uemura Stage Performer Instant Glow. This is again a great primer slash almost like a glow giver, but it doesn't have a glow like I feel again a lot of the highlighted looks now that you see tend to be over highlighted. This gives that nice subtle glow. Just look up again, kind of taking it almost towards the under eye as well to highlight and kind of brighten. Now I'm going to mix some NW40 Prolong Wear Concealer with some NW35 Prolong Wear here. going to mix these to color correct, right? So I'm just going to apply it wherever I feel I need to. Around the mouth a little bit, on the forehead. These are the areas, again, like I said, models tend to actually live very difficult lives in the fact that they have conditions that they work under which are not always great. So there's a lot of sun damage that ends up happening as well, which causes pigmentation. So going under her eye here, getting rid of any discoloration that's happening. Put it on her lip also. Up again, Maha. Look this side. Any other discoloration here, I'm just color correcting all of it with this mixture. Even on the chest, wherever you feel you need it. Turn this way. Now on top, I'm wanting to do something nice and soft. So I'm gonna take the Hollywood Flawless filter. So I'm gonna mix number 3 in it. I do love this stuff right now, so I do tend to use it quite a bit. But a little goes a long way. And I'm going to add the Bourjois here. I'm adding their medium BB cream and their dark BB cream. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the Pro Longwear foundation by MAC in NC40. And I'm going to blend this all together and apply it on her skin. So I'm going to take some of this now on my sponge and start working it into her skin. So it's all about buffing, 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 buffing. So really push that product into the skin. So go under her neck also here, her jaw, sorry, and her neck where her ears are as well. Maha, turn completely here towards me. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my NW45 Pro Longwear Concealer and use that as the contour. I'm going to paint on my contour lines. Always keep it slightly higher than where your hollow is. You want to shade up so that it looks like your cheekbone is higher as opposed to lower. We've already made her socket very dark. So we already have a guideline for where that nose line is going to join and come down. But always make sure it is joining towards its crease, because that's where that line comes from. Sometimes it's hanging in the air. I'm also doing her tip here. under her jaw. Maha, look this side. Straight. I'm just blending the areas where we've applied that contour. And what I love about liquid contouring is that it tends to get blended very seamlessly. Maha, do this. Just checking around her nose if it needs any blending. Just turn here and do the same. And now I'm going to take some medium sand tart shape tape and take my smaller beauty blender, and I'm going to go under her eye with it now. So up. Especially with smoky eyes, halo eyes, I mean with every eye makeup, but especially when you go darker, then making sure that the under eye is nice and flawless makes a huge difference in the impact of how the eye looks as well. So I'll show you the difference right now between the both, although the other eye has also had product already applied to it. But if you look straight, you can see the difference between a nicely, highlighted under eye and a not very highlighted under eye. So this is a very important part of the eye makeup looking good as well. So I always say if the skin's not done right, the eye makeup's not going to be strong. So really taking my time to work that concealer under her eye, and always make sure you blend it out till the cheek, because you don't want a semicircle that's light under your eye. I'm also taking the same color in the center of the nose and the center of the forehead. So I'm now sculpting her face, and then I'm going to dip my beauty blender in the same, look this side Maha, and just under her contour line, I'm going to add it a little bit here, a little bit there, but it's not so much adding a layer of the product, it's almost like buffing it into the skin with this little amount of product that the beauty blender picked up. So it's not about those streaks almost that you see on people's faces. That's not fun. Look down this side, sorry. Maha has seen those streaks, which is why she's laughing a little bit. Now I'm going to take some Almond Born This Way concealer, and I'm going to go under her eye again, just again to brighten it a little bit more. And then up again, and then center of the nose. Right, and now what we're going to do is brush up her eyebrows. And I'm going to take the color Saddle by Bobbi Brown in the eyebrow palette and apply it to her eyebrow, starting from the outside, doing the arch here, and then adding a little bit of a color there as well in the beginning of her eyebrow. Down again. And a very famous quote that we all follow as makeup artists is that eyebrows are sisters, they're not twins. Don't try to make them look alike. I'm just filling in that brow, also extending it a little bit because now her eye looks nice and long. So just turn more here, Maha, towards me. Just gonna do those edges also, and you can turn back now, and then back here. I'm going to use a stronghold spray now, and I'm just going to spray it on the brush here and brush up this brow. This will help it kind of stay and also give it like a light feathery kind of a look. Now I'm going to take a big brush and dipping it into my Laura Mercier and just going over the entire neck. Sometimes a brush, turn this side, Maha, adds the, look up, powder in a softer manner. So I'm just going to want to do that because she's already looking very nice and glowy, and to keep that we want to make sure that we don't over powder the face. Turn this side now, making sure that we're doing her T-zone here. So I'm going to dab my beauty blender in the Chic Freak and kind of start building this highlight on her cheekbone. You can tell how lovely that is starting to look. I'm going to go slightly higher here as well, but with my beauty blender, so it is subtle and blended. Just kind of building that. And we're going to do the same thing towards this side of the cheekbone. You can turn that way if you use that side. Can you see, especially with that light, when it hits her face, it adds this really beautiful popping kind of a highlight. So back here, and then turn this side and look straight. I'm going to add a little bit here. Top part of your mouth also, on her collarbones. Sometimes, like I've mentioned before, people tend to just highlight their face, but their chest and like neck area, etc. is very dry looking, powdery looking, and it just looks like your neck is different to your, and your chest is different to your face. So if you're going to highlight yourself and you're going to show even more skin, so say you're showing your belly or you're showing your arms, make sure you add some kind of a highlight there as well. Now I'm going to take my mascara in Benefit Bad Gal, and I'm just going to make sure that her own eyelash and the false lashes all have a nice coating of this color. lash in the lower lashes. And Maha's got a great lash. I was just telling her right before we started filming how long her own lash is. So she has great length on those lashes. So I really want to make use of it and add a real lovely coating of this mascara. So you really see that length. And again, it's all about drama, drama, drama. So that when she walks into a room, it's a very striking kind of a look. So I always take some Laura Mercier here and dust it on the edges of the lower lashes so that no transference happens. Because sometimes you'll notice when you apply lower mascara, a lot of people say it tends to bleed, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Now we're going to take a pencil brush and I'm going to go back in with Coco from the Huda Beauty Rose Remastered palette. And I'm just going to give the lower lash line a coating of that. Look straight. Up again. Look here. Just dusting off anything that's fallen on the face. So on top of Mahogany Lip Liner by MAC, I've applied Omi Lipstick by Pat McGrath. Right, and now I'm going to go ahead and add some gold into the lip. I like to do that with an eyeshadow. So I'm just going to use Pat McGrath eyeshadow from this palette, Dark Star, Subliminal Dark Star palette. And I'm just going to add a little bit in the center from both the gold. So I layered this one first. Now I'm going to go more yellow because she has more of a yellow gold on her eye. And I'm just dabbing that in the center of her lips. If you can look into the camera, stretch your lip a little bit. I'm just applying that in the center and buffing it with that brush of mine to give a metallic kind of a feel to the lip here. Just making sure everything is in its place. I'm going to go ahead and now spray her face with the Farsali Rose Gold Mist first. So just going to make sure it's not sitting on top of her skin. Just buff that. And then apply the Makeup Forever Mist and Fix on top. So as you can see, we got that strong, gorgeous kind of a halo eye, a popping center, darker corners. I've kept true to her skin, guys. Throughout these tutorials, you will see that I've tried to select women that are closest to the Desi undertone, and it's all about highlighting their features, making their skin look gorgeous without whitewashing them. As you can see, she looks like a golden goddess, gorgeous golden kind of contours there, highlights there. The lip also, I try to add that metallic kind of an effect so that you guys have different kind of looks for lips and eyes to practice. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this look, and I'm waiting to see your own recreations.